Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Race Talk with Big Easy Motorsports, where we talk everything from local short track racing around the area of Louisiana, and we also talk about racing as far as the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series goes. But this week we're going to be talking a little bit different subject. We're going to be talking about the floods in Louisiana, in central Louisiana around the Baton Rouge, Gonzales area. They were very devastating to the state, and as that is being said, there's been many efforts on recovery, rescue of people. But one group in particular I'd like to speak on is a group that I helped out this week for a few days over in the Gonzales Ascension Parish area, and that is the Cajun Navy. They have got some respect from the national news media, as well as they have got some respect as far as that goes from the local media quite a bit, but not as much as I would think that they should have. There is a lot I understand going on in the media with the elections going on, or not the elections, but I guess what you'd say the build up to the elections going on in the country at this point in time. And then you've got the Olympics going on. Some bad news out of there today. We'll have a little bit of discussion about that a little bit later on. But first, what I want to do is get into what we normally talk about here on Race Talk with Big Easy Motorsports. That is the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. And if you're unfamiliar with the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, that is one of the three major divisions of NASCAR racing here in NASCAR. They've got the Truck Series, they've got the Xfinity Series, and then they've got what will be newly named next year the Sprint Cup Series. The name for that has yet to be determined, but it should be coming out probably, I'm guessing, somewhere around October, November. Is when they'll probably announce the new sponsor for the Sprint Cup division of NASCAR racing. But anyway, we like to talk about the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, and the reason being is we are in the process here at Big Easy Motorsports of working on putting together a NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race team. And with that said, that's what we like to focus on is the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. And one of our sponsors in that series is actually where I am broadcasting from tonight. It's the DBC Bar and Grill in Metairie, Louisiana. It's at 1001 Veterans Boulevard. And if you want to come out and have a great daiquiri, they have a full kitchen that they can fix you up a sandwich. I think tonight's Thursday night, so it's going to be a hamburger steak night. It's a hamburger steak with gravy and garlic mashed potatoes, if I'm not mistaken. And I can check in just a little bit with one of the young ladies here about what's going on back in the grill. But they can fix you anything from, their dinner special to a po' boy or whatever it may be you feel like you want to eat. They have a full open kitchen here, so it's great. On Wednesday nights now, they have a steak night. It's $15.99. Tonight's deal with the hamburger steak night is $9.99 if I'm not mistaken. And but they've got a great cook in the back, and that's an option if you want to come out for a great steak at a great price, and you get those garlic mashed potatoes with that steak on Wednesday nights as well. On Friday nights here at the DBC Bar and Grill, actually it's not just Friday nights, from 11 a.m. until the sun goes down here at DBC Bar and Grill is happy hour. So you can come in any time of the day and you get those drink prices, those happy hour drink prices at any time. I'm looking at their menu here, which is on my table that I've got set up here that I'm looking at. They've got something new here. It's called a garlic parmesan fries. I'm not exactly sure what that is. It sounds pretty good, especially if you like parmesan and garlic. I do. But they've got that. That's supposed to be something new. I may try that a little bit later on. But they've got, a little bit of everything on this menu here. They got tamales, they got cheese sticks, cheese fries, chili cheese fries. chicken quesadilla rolls, mini corn dogs, Texas toothpicks. I'm not exactly sure what that is. That's a golden fried onion and jalapeno strip served with a house-made horseradish ranch dipping sauce. Okay. Sounds pretty good. Anyway, they got that. They got a chicken, they got a chicken tender basket. They got the DBC Big Dog as well. And then they got a sampler basket that you can sampler basket for 2 people for $14. So they got a great list of things here, and that's just a few of them. Like I said, tonight is hamburger steak night over at the DBC Bar and Grill, and you can come out and that is that's $9.99 for the hamburger steak is $9.99. $9.95 for the hamburger steak every Thursday night. On Wednesday night is steak night. That is $15.99.
So $15 for a 14-ounce ribeye.
Okay, that's $15 for a 14-ounce ribeye on Wednesday nights.
From 6 p.m. till.
From 6 p.m. until. And that's what time the dinner started tonight was. Correct. From 6 p.m.? Okay, so everything from 6 p.m. until. So you can do that on Wednesdays and Thursday nights and come over and have a great drink with them. They got a full line of daiquiris behind the bar. They've got well drinks. They've got bottled drinks. They got things on tap that you can drink. So you can come out to DBC Bar and Grill and enjoy a little bit of everything. And they've even got water if you want water. So you can take care of all of your thirsting needs. I know, in southeast Louisiana, it's hot. So you got the opportunity to take care of all those needs as far as being thirsty. But back to what we were talking about just a minute ago with the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. They held that race on Wednesday night, and I was going to broadcast live from here at the DBC Bar and Grill, but it wound up that what I spoke of earlier with the Cajun Nation and the floods that we've been having here in Louisiana. I did some volunteer work yesterday and the day before with the Cajun Nation, helping do, with rescue efforts and different things such as that with the Cajun Nation. And that's where I was, and I got tied up, and it was a little bit later than what I thought I would be to get back here. To do the show, but if you go over at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time from 9 to 11, you can go to WGSO.com or WGSO 990 AM here in New Orleans, and if you want to go to the TuneIn app, you're welcome to go to the TuneIn app as well and talk to the guys over at over there. About some more of the stuff. The host over there is Chris and Trey, and that's called Battlefield Live. You can get on with them, and they'll be speaking more about what's been going on with the Cajun Nation and, some of the rescue efforts that's been going on and some of the things that we've been doing there. It's pretty much shifted from a rescue effort now to just a supply boat effort. And getting supplies to the parishes where they're needed and things like that. But like I said, from 9 to 11, it's Battlefield Live, and Chris and Trey will be on over there at WGSO 990 AM, and you can speak with them. Call in. The number is 504-556-9696 that you'll be able to call and talk to Chris and Trey. That's live every Monday through Friday from 9 to 11 on WGSO 990 AM. And go talk to those guys and see what's going on. And, they're in a fight against the machine, but right now we're all working together here in southeast Louisiana, pulling together to help our friends and family over in those parishes that have been flooded. If I'm not mistaken, it was 20 parishes that have been declared disaster areas in Louisiana, and for that's a third of the parishes in the state of Louisiana that has been dedicated as federal disaster areas. Those that's a lot of parishes, that's a lot of people, and we're if you watch the news and you see the news, it's on it says that there's somewhere around 40 to 60,000 people. If I'm not mistaken, the Cajun Navy here in the New Orleans in Louisiana area rescued somewhere around 7,000 people themselves. And some of the stories that you heard coming out of the Cajun Nation, the Cajun Navy, about the rescues that they done, they were just, it breaks your heart that the people are going through this, and especially in the area that these floods has happened to. It was only back in March that those areas had flooded, and you hear tragic stories about people rebuilding and, going back in and redoing their houses. And some people say, well, I just put my new floors in just last week or, 2 weeks ago or last month. I just got new floors put in my house. So, this is really a devastating blow to all those people in that area, because pretty much the ones that flooded back in March are the ones that flooded again, as well as some other people, new people that had never flooded before, got caught up in these flood waters as well. So we want to send out, our prayers and our heartfelt sympathies to those people. And you can go on Facebook. There is a Facebook page there for the Cajun Navy, and you can find out, whether you want to donate or whether you want to, participate in helping with the recovery efforts and the distribution and things like that, or supplies and materials. You're more than welcome to do that. Now, I will be saying that, let me say this, Big Easy Motorsports will be doing a donation and drive here at the DBC Bar and Grill. So you can come by and drop off items. We're looking for things from mops to bleach to brooms, anything that you can use that these folks can use to clean up, after the recovery mode starts, when the water's receded and they can get back into their houses, because there's going to be lots of mud and things like that. So, if you can bring out, like I said, brooms and mops and shovels, that's going to be something that's going to be needed. I haven't heard too many people talking about shovels, but, in order to get this mud and stuff out of the house, wheelbarrows, just whatever you can do that you, if you were in the situation to where you had to recover and clean up after a flood of your house, think about that and think about what you might need and what you might want, and bring those things over to DBC Bar and Grill here in Metairie at 1001 Veterans Boulevard, and you can drop those off over here. And we've got a trailer that we'll be loading up. Once we get that full, we've got another location in Metairie over at Pontchartrain Mechanical, and those guys over there are also doing some stuff in conjunction with Big Easy Motorsports, to where we're going to be dropping off supplies over there. We're going to be taking the trailer from here and loading our stuff into a container that they have over there. And then once they get that container loaded, we're going to run it down to the Baton Rouge, Gonzales area, and we're going to let the Cajun Navy take care of where it needs to go from there, because they have already got all that stuff figured out. Rob and the guys over at the Cajun Navy, they've got together and found out who the distributors of these products are. So they've got a warehouse down there. They'll take that stuff and they'll put it in their warehouse, and then they'll be able to, get it out to the people who need it the most, and they'll be able to get it to where it needs to go the quickest. We have found that out just by the fact of, the rescue efforts that have went on. There were some places that the wildlife and fisheries, or maybe the National Guard, or people that are also involved in these rescue efforts, that were involved in these rescue efforts, they couldn't make it, and so the Cajun Navy went in and they were able to perform those rescues. So we got to give a big shout out to the Cajun Navy here in southeast Louisiana, and all of the participants and volunteers that come out and brought their boats and whatever else they had that was needed, they brought it out, and it was a great honor to work with those guys and to help those guys out. and be able to see that work in action. But like I said, if you want to listen to that and hear more about that tonight from 9 to 11 on WGSO 990 AM, that's WGSO.com, you can tune in to Battlefield Live, and Chris and Trey will be broadcasting there, and you'll be able to tune in and find out exactly what went on today with the Cajun Navy as Chris will be talking about that. He's been participating in the recovery and rescue efforts as well, so he's got a very good perspective of what's been going on there. So tune in and listen to that and get a better perspective. And if you want to go out and help, like I said, Cajun Navy has got a Facebook page, and you can go there and listen to those, see what's going on with those guys, and volunteer your services or whatever it might be, and they'll be able to get you out to the right places and utilize you to the utmost. But so go ahead and listen to that tonight from 9 to 11. Now back again, and I've been trying to get on this since we started the show, was the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race that happened. That was live from Bristol Motor Speedway last night. That's Wednesday the 17th, where the Truck Series raced over at Bristol. And the winner of that race last night was Ben Kennedy, driving the number 3. He led the final 20 laps of the 200 laps at Bristol Motor Speedway on Wednesday night. He was followed by the number 11 of Brett Moffitt, which I think that's only Brett's second race or third race in that number 11 Toyota Red Horse Racing Tundra. So that kid's got a great future ahead of him if he keeps driving and finishing the way he did last night. He's got a lot to look forward to in this sport. The number 19, Daniel Hemrick, that is a truck out of the Brad Keselowski Racing Stables. He finished in third place, and after him was the number 9 of William Byron. That is that's the Liberty University Kyle Busch Motorsports Toyota Tundra. After that was Johnny Sauter in the number 21. That is Johnny Sauter drives a Chevrolet, and then followed by him out of the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Stables is the 00 of Cole Custer. So that will be rounded out your top 5. And then Christopher Bell in the number 4 Kyle Busch Toyota Tundra, followed by John Hunter Nemechek out of the Nemechek Motorsports Racing Stables. That's a Chevrolet. That would be 7th. And my page just refreshed here on me as I'm looking at these rundowns. The number 71 of Brandon Jones. Not sure who his sponsor is or what he is driving. But he had a good finish, so that's great to see. These young guys. This is one of the places. If you ever go out to a short track race in your local community, whether it be dirt or asphalt, and you watch these guys on Saturday nights or Friday nights or whenever it is that they race over in your area at one of the local short tracks, those guys there at those tracks, these are the guys that were there at those tracks just a few years ago. I know for instance, Christopher Bell, he was racing at a local short track, and if I'm not mistaken, he raced in the Chili Bowl, and he outrun Kyle Busch for the win in the Chili Bowl a few years back, and in doing so, that's how he got his ride. That's how he come on board, got to come on board with Kyle Busch Motorsports, and that's where he got his start in the Camping World Truck Series. Kyle Busch said, look, if you can beat me, you're a great driver, and I need to get you into one of my trucks. So he gave him a chance, and he raced 2 seasons in the Camping World Truck Series. And last year, he is actually the reigning champion in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. But he will not be defending his title because he moved up and moved over. For those of you who don't know, that Kyle Busch drives in the Sprint Cup Series for Joe Gibbs Racing. So his Truck Series team is basically a developmental team for Joe Gibbs and the Joe Gibbs Xfinity Series race teams and the Joe Gibbs Sprint Cup Series race teams. Now, the Sprint Cup Series, they got a few years left, and they're looking at, they'll be on there for quite a while. The drivers that are there now, which is Carl Edwards and Matt Kenseth, as well as Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin. So those guys are pretty secure in their rides right now at this point in time. But in the future, I can see Matt Kenseth maybe stepping away and not necessarily stepping away from NASCAR altogether, but maybe stepping down from that ride over at Joe Gibbs Racing and going back to, say, for instance, the possibility that he might get into a truck. I know he's got a son that's coming up through the ranks, and he may be looking to, do a team and owning a team in the Truck Series and letting his son drive in the Truck Series for a while, see if he can't develop his son and get him on up into the Sprint Cup Series. But that's where Christopher Bell come from, and he was just, like I said, he was one of those local dirt track and asphalt track racers that just happened to be at the right place at the right time, and he outrun Kyle Busch for a win over at the Chili Bowl, and that's how he got his ride. So, and this year he's racing in the Xfinity Series for Joe Gibbs Racing over there in the Xfinity Series. So that's great. And another one of those, I'm sorry, I misspoke a while ago. I said Eric Jones. I said Christopher Bell was the defending champion. Eric Jones is the defending champion of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, but he also drove. He's the one who drove and won the championship last year in the Truck Series for Kyle Busch Motorsports. And Kyle Busch also won the Owners' Championship as well as Toyota won the Manufacturers' Championship over there with that. And Eric Jones is the one who done that. He's also in the Xfinity Series this year. He's not defending that title either. So he's in the Xfinity Series with Joe Gibbs Racing driving an Xfinity Toyota. And next year it's already been announced that he will be moving over to, it's not a Joe Gibbs team, but it's a Joe Gibbs partnership endeavor with Furniture Row. And for those of you who aren't familiar with that, that is the team that Martin Truex drives, the number 78 Denver Mattress Bass Pro Shops Toyota Camry in the Sprint Cup Series. But Eric Jones will be moving over to drive the number 77, if I'm not mistaken. They announced that last week, and I can look that up here. But Eric Jones will be moving over and driving the 5-hour energy car because, as everybody knows, Clint Boyer is just doing a one and done in the car that he's in this year at H. Scott Motorsports, and then he'll be moving over and taking over for Tony Stewart next year in that ride over at Stewart Haas Racing. So that is that's why that 5-hour energy, I guess they decided they would move over and go with Eric Jones on the Toyota and the number 77 over there at Furniture Row Racing. But so that's a great opportunity that Eric Jones took advantage of when he did, and it's wound up being a great thing for him. And kudos to him, and that's the way you have to do it in this. You get that opportunity, you need to make the best of it as quick and as fast as you can and get yourself moved up there. There's some other drivers that's tried this, and they've moved up, but they just didn't pan out, and so it wound up being, that they had to either move back down into the series that they came from, or they just didn't wind up, they wound up just not making it, and they washed out altogether. And there's some guys that had some opportunities, but in NASCAR, in order to keep those sponsorships, you've got to keep that car on top every time, every day, and you can't miss a beat with it. there's a lot of teams out there, the lower tier teams, they'll be swapping back and forth drivers. And then most of the time that is where drivers come to the table and they've got a sponsor that's willing to put up the money to put that driver in that car. And so they take that opportunity and they put that driver in that car with a sponsor. And so that's how that'll work is a driver comes to the table and says, look, I need a ride and I've got a sponsor for this race. If you got a car that you can put me in, and next thing you know, there's a driver that's been driving that car that didn't necessarily have the backing, but they kept the car in there because the way that the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is run now is you've got to compete in all the races because they've got charters now, and those charters basically says, if you don't compete in all the races, then you don't get the opportunity to compete in the you'll lose your charter, and then you have to qualify into every race week in and week out. And so those guys don't want to lose those charters, so they race week in and week out with or without sponsors. And so with that being said, usually it's a 1 or 2 or 3 race deal to where somebody comes along and says, hey, I got a sponsor, I need a car to drive. They'll put that different driver in there just for the fact that, they need that extra money and those extra funds to be able to keep that team running. And you'd be surprised. It's somewhere close to, for those lower tier teams, I would say it's probably somewhere around $350,000 to $450,000 per race that you've got to be able to put up in order to get a driver in one of those cars. So, and people say, well, you crazy. It can't be that much. But if you take and look at what, teams like Hendrick Motorsports teams with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jimmy Johnson, those teams, and Chase Elliott. Chase has got the Napa sponsorship, and Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s got the nationwide AARP sponsorship, and Jimmy Johnson has been with Lowe's for over 10 years, probably closer to 15 years now. And so, that's where all of those guys, they're pretty secure in their rides, but every 3 to 4 years, those sponsors re-up, and if they don't perform, they take off and they go somewhere else. So what's happened is those sponsors, when they put up that money, they're putting up approximately $500,000 per race. And on the Sprint Cup Series, you can do the math. But on the Sprint Cup Series, they've got 36 races that are points races, and then they've got 2, what you would say, I guess, showcase or feature races. The first one being the shootout in Daytona in February during Speed Weeks, and then the second one being in May at the All-Star race that they have in Charlotte. So, when people come on board and these sponsors come on board, you better believe that they got some money spent in it. And when you're talking about sponsors, in those lower tier teams, you say, well, look, that company's got a lot of money to spend. That company spent that money, but that company didn't, they didn't have the bucks to back it up to spend the $18 million to $22 million a year that it costs for those sponsors. A lot of times you'll see some companies, what they'll do is they'll say, okay, we'll sponsor your car for X amount of races and we'll give you that dollar amount. And then what they have to do is those teams have to go out and they have to sell the rest of those races to fill those spots. So when they do that and they fill those spots, that's where they come in with that extra income. But it's very expensive to get into that. As far as the Camping World Truck Series goes now, it's not as bad. It is expensive to get in. It costs, around $4 to $5 million a year to run these race teams. And that's in the Camping World Truck Series. So you're looking, well over $250,000 to close to $300,000 a race. But you got to understand that when you put your money into these race trucks, you have the opportunity to be on national television. Now, when I say on national television, I'm talking about Fox Sports 1. That is, one of the premier sports leagues or networks in the country. As far as that goes, worldwide, they they do the Major League Baseball. They've had the World Series. They've had the Super Bowl. They've got NFL games. They've got, and wherever you might be living in your region, like here we've got Fox Sports South. So in addition to Fox Sports 1 and Fox Sports 2, then we got Fox Sports. So you got Fox is a big outfit, and they are doing these races live in the Camping World Truck Series, every one of them. And there's 23 races this season in the Camping World Truck Series. It's 19 different venues at 23 races at 19 different venues, and those 19 different venues, of those, one of them is in Canada. It's a road course up there in Canada, and the Camping World Truck Series is getting ready to go to Canada and run up there. So that opportunity is for a company to get exposure nationwide, because the Camping World Truck Series runs from coast to coast, and from border to border as far as that goes. Actually, border to beyond border, if you think about it, when they go into Canada, so they're beyond the United States border. But anyway, the Camping World Truck Series, that is that's the advantage you've got of racing with the Camping World Truck Series is it's not as expensive. Now, what makes it even better, if you race with Big Easy Motorsports, you come on board with Big Easy Motorsports, well, instead of it costing you, per race, $250,000, $300,000, we broke our packages down so that you can actually buy a per race package and be the primary sponsor for a race. Say you're more or less a regional sponsor, and one of those instances that I can think of, would be like supermarket chains. Some of them are regional, and some of them are, like I remember Publix used to be in the southeast, and I remember seeing a lot of them in the Florida area, but I never really seen too many of them up around South Carolina and Georgia and things like that. But they have grown and expanded so that now they're up into South Carolina, I know for a fact. And so they're growing, their market, and they're expanding into different markets. But great opportunity. That would be a great opportunity for a company like that are regional to be able to, because we go to Daytona and because we go to Miami Homestead, where they've got a very, very good presence, as well as they could go to Atlanta. They could buy, a handful of races and get their name out there on national television. And get the opportunity to see a show truck in their area as well, and it would be a minimal cost to them. So, you've got the opportunity, if you're a smaller company and, you don't have but, say, $25,000 or $30,000 a year that you could spend, that you could dedicate to NASCAR. And the Camping World Truck Series. Give us a call here at Big Easy Motorsports. We'll be able to put that money to work for you and to give you more than what you would get from even a Sprint Cup team. And, their sponsors spending $500,000 a race. We'll be able to put that $25,000 to work for you and get you more than what they'll give you. I know the Sprint Cup Series is a lot more popular than what the Truck Series is, but the opportunity that you have to come with us over here at Big Easy Motorsports is the fact that we're here in the New Orleans region, and we've got NFL football, we've got NBA basketball, we've got the French Quarter Fest, we've got Mardi Gras, we got Jazz Fest, we got Voodoo Fest. We have so many different festivals going on here year-round. And these folks, I'm telling you, these aren't just little, small festivals like, 10 or 15,000 people coming. These festivals that I'm naming, like Jazz Fest and French Quarter Fest and Voodoo Fest, Gretna Heritage Fest. These festivals attract somewhere in the neighborhood of 300,000 to 400,000 people per event. So that's a lot of people that you have the opportunity to come on board with us and get your name and your company advertised and recognized here in the greater New Orleans area. We're not just going to sit in one location and hope that everybody comes by. We've got a show truck that we're getting ready to put out here. It'll be over here at DBC Bar and Grill right here shortly. So, people will be able to come out and take a look at the race truck that we've got and have the opportunity to hear that thing run and what the motor sounds like in it and things like that. But with that being said, if you want to get on board with, Big Easy Motorsports and get your company some exposure for the 2017 season, we'd be more than glad to talk to you. And you can come on and give me a call. 504-217-1000 is the number that you can reach me at. That's my personal cell, so you can call and ask and inquire, and I can send you some information and show you exactly what you're going to get. The festivals and events, we've got a sponsorship package that we send out to people who inquire, and you can be on board. We do have a couple of the larger companies that are looking at coming on board with us, and they like the fact that, it's not going to cost them as much to get involved with Big Easy Motorsports as it would to get involved with a Sprint Cup or Xfinity Series race team. And they like the fact that the market that we're in, it gives them that extra exposure that they normally wouldn't get on top of what they get with being a sponsor, through Fox Sports 1 as and doing the race season with us, then versus doing it with like I said, the Sprint Cup Series or the Camping World Truck Series. The thing about that is, with the Camping World Truck Series, all the races, like I said, all the races, as a matter of fact, all the races, the practices, as well as the qualifying sessions are televised live on Fox Sports 1. Now, if you go over to the Sprint Cup Series and you go over to the Xfinity Series, the first half of the season is done by Fox Sports and Fox, the Fox Network, and that's the Sprint Cup Series. The Xfinity Series is shown on Fox Sports 1. That's for the first half of the season. And then after that, it goes and gets turned over to NBC. And NBC takes on the second half of the season, and they televise live there. They start at Daytona in July and go through the end of the race season. And then all of the races are televised live on NBCSN. So if your cable provider doesn't have NBCSN, doesn't offer that to you, then you're not able to watch the Sprint Cup or Xfinity Series races. And, you're shut out pretty much. And then this year with the Olympics being on, some of the races in the Xfinity Series and the Sprint Cup Series were moved from NBCSN because they were covering the Olympics. They were moved over to the USA Network, which is an affiliate company of NBC, NBC being the parent company of USA Network. And those races were moved over to the USA Network. I think it was 3 races that they moved because of the Olympics. So with the Camping World Truck Series, you've got that same dedication week in and week out by Fox Sports 1 that they televise the Camping World Truck Series. You don't have to worry about, watching this week and all the races, and then you say, you get to the halfway point in the season and you're looking and you're saying, well, where's the race at? I thought it was supposed to be on today. No, it switched over to NBCSN. And then you realize, you haven't watched NBCSN all year because you hadn't really thought about it. It's not like that, they publicize it and promote it constantly on NBC. So you're sitting here wondering, okay, where is my race at? And then you find out that you don't have that channel, so now you can't even watch the race anymore. But you don't have to worry about that with Fox Sports 1. Fox Sports 1s are, they're on most of the major networks, cable providers, I should say, And Fox Sports will tell you, tune in to the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race on Fox Sports 1. So when they're televising those races on Fox, which is, the parent network of Fox Sports 1 and Fox Sports 2 and Fox Sports South and wherever you may be, Northeast or whatever it may be, they televise those Sprint Cup races on Fox Sports. They'll tell you, tune over if you want to see some great truck racing or the Xfinity Series racing for the first half of the season. And you can look at, you can see those races on Fox Sports 1. So you know for a fact that is there and that it's going to be there. And you don't have to worry about tuning in somewhere else to find the Truck Series race. I will say this now. Every once in a while, they will take the race from Fox Sports 1, but they put it on Fox. So they don't switch networks altogether. It's still on. And even though you got to have a cable provider to pick up Fox Sports 1, everybody knows that Fox itself is a digital television station that you can pick up over the air. If you've got a digital antenna in your house, you don't have to have cable. You can just tune in to Fox Sports or the Fox network, which the NFL comes on every week. I know the Saints play there. And so we get the opportunity to watch that for the Saints games on just regular TV. And everybody knows what I'm talking about. Back in the day, especially when I was a kid growing up, you had three networks. It was it was NBC, ABC, and CBS. Now you got channel after channel after channel, and so I look at it now as we've got four major networks. We've got Fox, we've got NBC, we've got ABC, and we got CBS. So the two major networks right now that are carrying the NASCAR series in the Camping World Truck Series in particular is only one network, and that's Fox. So if you go to Fox, you can find the Camping World Truck Series races. Most 95% of them, I would say, is all on Fox Sports 1. There may be one or two races a year that they do put on Fox. And they've got that opportunity. It's in a primetime slot because most of the time it is night races that they do that with. But that's the opportunity that you have with Big Easy Motorsports is knowing that every week that people that are familiar with your company, they can tune in to Fox Sports and they can tune in to Fox Sports 1 and watch the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, and they'll be able to see you and your company name on our race truck, as well as when we put that show truck on the street here in New Orleans. I said, I mentioned the NBA, I mentioned the NFL, but also you got to remember for New Year's, we've got the All-State Sugar Bowl here, so that's a big NCAA championship game that goes on. That's a qualifier for the national championship game. And in 2020, if you come on board and you sign a 3-year contract with us, you'll be involved because in 2020, the national championship game will actually be held here in New Orleans for the Sugar Bowl. And we'll have a presence here in New Orleans with our show truck. So you'll have that opportunity to get your name out there in front of, hundreds of thousands of people. I know the Dome only holds approximately 67,000 people, but you got to realize that there's a lot more people to that come to town just because of the fact that it is New Year's, which New Orleans has become one of the premier destinations to do, for New Year's, for people to celebrate the New Year and ring in the New Year. It's become over the past decade one of the premier destinations for celebrating the New Year. So you got that opportunity. Also, we've got the R&L Carrier Bowl here. It's another bowl game, and then we've got the Bayou Classic that comes here every year. So that's another bowl game. So we got 3 bowl games in the month of November and December. Actually, it's in the month of December, all 3 of those bowl games. Another big event that I forgot about to mention was Essence Festival. They just renewed to bring Essence Festival back I'm thinking it's through 2022, maybe 2025. Essence Festival will be here in the greater New Orleans area. They do that at the Superdome as well as they do that at the convention center, the Morial Convention Center. So you got the opportunity, like I said, your company's got the opportunity to be out here in front of. If I'm not mistaken, the number for the last year in New Orleans for tourism was between 11 and 13 million people. I don't have the exact number right in front of me, but 11 to 13 million people in a city that's condensed as much as New Orleans is. You've got a great opportunity to have your company name out there in front of all those people, because as we know, most of the people come here. They come here for, certain occasions, certain events, and we know where those events are. We know where the most popular places for those events are going to be. So you got the opportunity to get your name, in front of hundreds of thousands of people at a time, every week, week in and week out here, being part of a race team that's based here in the greater New Orleans area. As well as, there's the big event that they hold once a year. It's over at it's all over the city of New Orleans. It's as well as it's in the outreaching parts of the greater New Orleans area, such as Metairie, like where we're here at DBC Bar and Grill, Veterans Boulevard. They shut down that, but for the event, and that is Mardi Gras. That is the biggest party on the earth. Everybody knows this. So you got the opportunity to bring your company in and put it on our race truck and have it, here live. And then when we get involved with natural disasters and things like that, we don't take your company off of the truck and do something, just for that natural disaster. We keep you there. We show that you're a partner of ours and that you have the opportunity. People should support you because you're supporting us, and that enables us to do the things that we do, such as, the collections and stuff that we're going to be doing here at DBC Bar and Grill for the supplies and things like that, that we'll be turning over to the Cajun Navy and, getting them to distribute that stuff to where it needs to be. But we're looking to do that with you guys. And so if anybody has the opportunity or wants to come out and be a part of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series and be a part of our race team that's based here in New Orleans, we'd like to hear from you, and we'd like to give you some more information on that. So you can call my number. It's 504-217-1000. And we'll get you out the information you need. We'll send you an email and let you go from there. But that is where that goes as far as the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race team goes. We're live here at DBC Bar and Grill. That is 1001 Veterans Boulevard in Metairie, Louisiana. The zip code is 70001. And that's DBC Bar and Grill. They've got 13 different TVs here, and they're big proponents of UFC fight nights here. They really love the UFC stuff. Right now I'm watching, different channels of the Olympics. I've got NBC Live, and then looks like there's some track and field girls that are running. I've got the NFL football game. It looks like the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Philadelphia Eagles playing on a TV behind the bar. On another TV, I've got some Olympic basketball. It's Team USA. It's Team USA. I don't know who they're playing, but we've got that on. And then right behind me, we've got a big TV. It looks like it's on the Fox network because I'm looking at maybe this is just an advertisement for a movie that's coming out. But anyway, I'm not exactly sure what channel this TV's on right at this point in time. But like I said, they've got 13 different TVs. They've also got a ping pong table sitting here in the middle. So if you like to play ping pong, you can come in with a couple of buddies. You can play ping pong. They've also got darts over here on the wall. And if I'm not mistaken, Wes told me a couple of weeks ago that's the manager of DBC Bar and Grill. about the fact that they have a dart league that they do here. So if you'd like to come out and play darts and be part of a dart league, come on over to DBC Bar and Grill. They got a great dart league over here. Then they've got, a few video poker machines in the back that you can come out and play and do some things like that. They've got a nice top plays jukebox over on the wall that and you can hear the music in the background. That's the noise. That's part of the noise you hear besides the crowd that's in here. It's a great thing. And then you can look around and they've got a case over in the corner that's got some Saints memorabilia in it and a couple of other things I can't exactly see, but maybe some local high school stuff that they got, because New Orleans and Louisiana in general is very big, on high school football. This is the only state that I know of that, most people back home in South Carolina, they ask you, where'd you go to school at? Well, I tell them, South Carolina. Where else would you go to school at? And some idiot says Clemson, but, he don't know what the hell he's talking about. But anyway, so but yeah, I say South Carolina. But you come to Louisiana and you're in Louisiana, you ask somebody where they went to school at, well, they're going to start naming off schools, and you're like, well, I never heard of that school. Where's that at? Where's that at? Where's that at? Oh, well, it's around the corner. It's down the street. They're talking about their high school, folks. That's right. These people are proud of their high school. Don't get me wrong now. They love LSU football. They are big LSU fans here. And but these folks here are, if you ask them where they went to school at, they're going to tell you the high school that they went to school at, because they're very proud. As a matter of fact, their high schools have their own personalized tags. You can get a high school, so whether you're a Rummel Red Raider or you're from John Curtis or where it may be, you can get a tag for your car with your favorite high school on it. So that is something that, like I said, there may be other places in the country that do that, but I've never heard of it. And I can't say as I blame them, because I'm gonna tell you what, they got some talent that comes out of Louisiana and is in the NFL right now today. A lot of you know Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu. He's over at Arizona. He played at LSU, but he's a local product from right here in the New Orleans area. Odell Beckham Jr. plays for the Giants. Everybody knows who Odell Beckham Jr. is, and he's an LSU product. But he's from right here in the greater New Orleans area. So I can understand why, where'd you go to high school at? Or, when you say where you go to school at here, I can understand why they do that and why they'll tell you what high school they went to, because they know that that's the high school that, one of those guys that's probably in the NFL went to as well. And they have that opportunity to share that with you. This is Race Talk with Big Easy Motorsports, and we've been all over the board tonight. I have talked a little bit about racing. Most of that has, I just filled you in on the race that went in on Wednesday night in the Camping World Truck Series. And that's, in the scheme of things of what's going on in the state of Louisiana, that was just a minor, touch that I touched on. Because of the fact that there is severe flooding that's been going on in the lower central part of the state over next to Gonzales and Baton Rouge, and those guys over there have been going through, in those parishes, Livingston Parish, Ascension Parish, East Baton Rouge. Like I said, there's been 20 parishes that has been declared national federal disaster areas throughout the state. That's a third. There's 64 parishes in the state of Louisiana, and so basically a third of them has been declared disaster areas in the state of Louisiana. And so that's something that we've been dealing with, and to give you an idea of how bad it is and how bad it got and how quick it happened, it was a matter of 2 foot of rain in 2 days. And it didn't just come a little bit at a time. It come, and it was nonstop. And it just poured, and it poured, and it poured. And it wound up that the tributaries and the rivers and stuff, they were already a little high, and with that, you get the extra water there, and then it's everything it starts uphill and it runs downhill. Well, the problem they've got with all the water running downhill is that once it got all downhill, well, when you've already got high water and it's downhill, well, then the water starts to back up and it does what we call back flood. So if you've ever thrown, a rock in a pond, you see how the waves, it'll ripple out. Well, once those waves and those ripples get to the bank of that pond, well, they can't go any further, so then they start to back up, and then you'll see them crash into each other. Well, that's basically what's happened here is the floodwaters has come down the rivers and the tributaries, and they went to Lake Pontchartrain and went down, and out through the Mississippi and stuff like that. But all that stuff is already backed up, and it's already full, so now it's back flooding, and it's going over levees, and if I'm not mistaken, it was St. Martinsville that had a levee breach over there. And so, it was just because of the floodwaters. And you've got different areas. I know the mayor of Walker, Louisiana, which was one of the hard-hit areas, that little town had never flooded. Well, they went in and redone the interstate, I-12, just below Walker, and they put in a new concrete barrier all the way down the middle of the interstate. Well, when they did that interstate barrier, to keep the right lane and the left lane separated, I should say the right and left lane separated, the eastbound and the westbound lanes separated, it acted as a dam. So, and I heard this, early in the, I think it was on Saturday afternoon when the Cajun Nation had started mobilizing to go out and rescue people. I had heard somebody put a video on Facebook, and they were talking about the fact that on one side of I-12 there was 3 foot of water, and that's the north side of I-12. There was 3 foot of water against the wall, and then on the south side of I-12. On the eastbound lanes, there was no water. It was dry, and it was just because of the fact that they had built that concrete barrier right down through the middle of the highway, separating the eastbound and the westbound lanes from each other. And so you wound up with a dam, basically a dam built there, and the water couldn't get out. And so Walker, Louisiana got flooded, and the mayor of Walker has now filed a lawsuit against the federal government and the state of Louisiana for building that highway and putting that obstruction there and causing the flooding. And whether you agree with it or not, engineers design highways and things like this to, get the flow of traffic moving as quickly as possible and to keep people safe on the road. But a lot of times what they don't consider and what they don't think about is, okay, what about all the other variables that's involved that could come along or what could happen? And that's where, the models should be done, and they should have been done. And I highly doubt that they were done about, what happens if we get a deluge of rain and on this side, then how's all the water going to get out? But I think what they're doing is they're taking for granted the fact that, they say, and I've heard in the media that this was 100 or a 500 year flood. I've got 2 different, reports on how bad it's been or how long it's been since, it's flooded like this. But my thing is, it don't matter. We weren't here 500 years ago to start with, so I really don't know how they know, when the last time a flood was, other than, by scientists or geologists, digging in the ground and checking the different layers to see, when was washed up where and different things such as that. But the fact that, 500 years ago is a long time. So, my question and the thing that pops into my mind when I hear them say, well, we hadn't had a flood like that in 500 years. My thing is, okay, well, what makes you think that we're not going to have that flood any time now? You know? So you got to ask, if these folks are saying that there's not been a flood like this in 500 years, or even if they're saying there's not been a flood like this in 100 years, well, then you should anticipate that you're about due for another natural disaster like this to come along. So, you know, you should plan for things like that. Even if, you know, like for years and years, New Orleans had the levee that keeps the Gulf out. And there was a levee breach when Katrina came through, and it flooded, you know, just devastated New Orleans. Everybody knows about Katrina and what happened there. Well, they rebuilt all of the levees, and they're new and improved, and they're supposed to be the greatest thing since white rice, you know, at this point in time. But they built floodgates so that they could open them and close them. And I think that, you know, maybe somebody should have took into consideration that, okay, if we're going to have a flood and we're going to build walls right down the middle of the interstate, maybe we should put a few floodgates in. And that way, you know, we can pull these gates, or we can open these gates, and we can let these floodwaters go on through and get on down, you know, to the south like they're supposed to, the gradual flow of everything running to Lake Pontchartrain or running out, you know, to down the Mississippi River or wherever it may be going. But you got to take into consideration those things, and I just think that was a lack of responsibility on the engineers' part who designed the barriers and things, and the DOTD, the federal government, everybody involved, basically. You know, somebody should have said, hey, we need to put some barriers in here that we can remove, or we need to consider maybe not putting up a concrete barrier and putting up, you know, walls. Or if they were going to put up concrete barriers, you know, put drainage pockets under the bottom of them so that, you know, every 3 foot you got a 1 foot drainage pocket that goes up under the bottom of that thing. That way the water's got a way to get out. Because, I mean, the water came, it was, you know, about, if I'm not mistaken, it was about a ½ inch an hour that it wound up falling. And that's what caused all the water to back up, is because of that wall there. Well, a ½ inch isn't that much water falling in an hour's time over a 48-hour period if it's got a place to drain through. So if it's got room to run up under, you know, a little overpass or underpass through those barriers that go down the middle of that highway, well, then that's fine. It'll go through there and it'll have time to drain. But when you just put up a wall, I mean, you know, you just put up a wall, it's no good to you then. You're done. So anyway, enough about that. We're doing a donation thing here at a drive here at the DBC Bar and Grill. So if anybody wants to bring out, you know, any kind of brooms or mops or cleaning products, anything to do, you know, disaster cleanup recovery, shovels, gloves, trash bags, everything. Put those things, bring them over by the DBC Bar and Grill. Drop them off. We'll be glad to get them to the people that they need to go to. As well as, you know, if you want to use my name, like I said, I'm Richard Long, and everybody knows that when I do this radio program, you can go to, you know, go online to Sam's Club. There's a Sam's Club in Metairie here, and go online and purchase stuff on behalf of Louisiana Cajun Nation, and put Richard Long for pickup. And if you want to, and you can go online and purchase those products, And then, I'll be more than happy to go over and pick those products up. And like I said, I'll get them to the proper people that they need to go to. If you want to go to Walmart or Target or somewhere in the Metairie area, and there's more than one. There's, Target and Walmart. But if you want to go there and do a site-to-store deal to where you buy products online and then you have me as the person to pick them up from the store. We've got one in Elmwood. We've got one in Kenner. We've got, we've got a Walmart on the West Bank off of Manhattan and Lapalco. We've got, we've got the Walmart in Elmwood. We've got the Walmart in Kenner. We've got the Walmart on the West Bank. We've got a Walmart. We've got two Walmarts. We've got one in Gentilly, and we've got one off of Bullard in New Orleans East. And then we've got two Sam's Club, one on the East Bank, one on the West Bank. But if you want to go on there and purchase products, and then you can shoot me an email. It's rlong934@gmail.com. You can shoot me an email and let me know, hey, we bought some products. They're at this store location. All you got to do is all I know I have to do is take my ID in there, and I can pick that product up. And I can get it to the appropriate people that needs that product. And, because I'll get it down to the Cajun Nation, the Cajun Navy, and they'll get it to the distribution centers where it needs to go. And, you can help out a lot by getting those people on board, giving those families the things they need to go back in and clean up and get their house straight. So if you're willing and able and you've got the wherewithal to do it, we'd appreciate everything that comes our way on behalf of donations to the cleanup effort, and we look forward to picking those things up and getting them to the people that they need, and we really, really appreciate it. If you want to, like I said, come by to the DBC Bar and Grill. Tomorrow morning I'm bringing over a trailer and we're going to set it out here, and donations are appreciated, the effort that we can do. And if you want to make a cash donation, we're okay with that. We'd prefer that you bring product, but if you want to make a cash donation, we'll make sure that gets to the appropriate people as well, and it's put into it's used for its most effective means. We may even go out and buy more product with it, but we'll make sure that it is used for what you intend for it to be used for, and we'll get it to the we'll make the most of what it can. We've got a few people here. I know I got a couple of friends that work at different retail outlets, big box stores in the area, as well as I know a couple of managers at these retail areas. And I can, go in there and they'll work it so we can get maybe a little bit better of a discount than what we normally would if I just went in there and bought something for myself. So whatever you can do, whatever you want to do, everything is appreciated, and we look forward to helping and seeing. And if you want to, just leave your name whenever you drop something off over at the DBC Bar and Grill, or if you buy something online. And I go pick it up, it should have your name attached with it. We'll appreciate it, and we'll be putting that up on our website at Big Easy Motorsports. We'll be putting that on our Facebook page over at Big Easy Motorsports, and we'll let you know. That way we can show our gratitude for what you've done, and it also gives you some sort of record to show where it goes and when it gets there. We'll be putting up some video showing, the drop-offs and the pickups from the Cajun Nation, where those guys come in and grab our stuff, and they take it and put it into distribution center so that the proper distribution channels can get it out to the people that need it. But that's what we're doing here. Probably for the next week or two, we're going to be doing this. We'll be out here live at DBC Bar and Grill more often. I know that there is a UFC fight that's supposed to be coming up right here shortly, and I'm going to try to get the information from Wes, who is who is the general manager here at the DBC Bar and Grill, and see if I can get him to give me some information on that, if he's got just a second here. So give me just a second, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I'm getting everything here from Wes. Now, it's Diaz versus McGregor this Saturday night. It's a rematch. This is the match where McGregor lost his title to Diaz. It was earlier this year, if I'm not mistaken, weren't it?
It was about 5 months ago.
About 5 months ago, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Diaz knocked him out in the first round.
Right, yeah. I remember the fight, and it shocked the world. But, yeah, so this Saturday night at DBC Bar and Grill, do you know what?
Check out the fight, $5 cover, $10 domestic buckets during the fight.
There you go. And $10 domestic buckets during the fight. It's a $5 cover charge. Everybody come out to DBC Bar and Grill. Enjoy the fights. Have a good time. Hopefully it won't be as quick as it was earlier this year. Maybe they'll make a match of it and go 2 or 3 rounds. I'm sure there's a lot of undercard fights that are going to be going on. So come out and enjoy those at the DBC Bar and Grill. That's 1001 Veterans Boulevard in Metairie, Louisiana. And you can come out at $5 cover charge, $10 domestic buckets. Correct. Okay. So we got that from Wes. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And we hope to see everybody out this Saturday night. That's going to be a great fight. I know Conor McGregor, I was watching earlier today. They were doing some press interviews and things like that. And if I'm not mistaken, from what I seen, Conor McGregor was getting slighted by Diaz and wasn't getting pretty much a word in edgewise. And he basically was begging to get on the mic because he had words and he had things he wanted to say. But it wound up, from what I seen on the TV, they was throwing bottles of water and everything else. So I don't know exactly how this fight's going to play out. But I think and I hope that it's going to be a great fight this weekend. And but anyway, come out to DBC Bar and Grill. That's 1001 Veterans Boulevard in Metairie. It's $5 cover, $10 domestic buckets. And you can come out and watch the fight and watch the undercard fights and have a great time with a great group of people. Like I said, they've got dart boards out here that you can play darts. They've got a foosball table out here. Or excuse me, not a foosball, but a ping pong table out here. You can play ping pong. They've got, I'm looking now, there's about 4 people playing on a Golden Tee golf machine. I know I've played that several times. Not that particular machine, but I've played Golden Tee several times myself. And then, like I said earlier, they've got 13 different TVs, so you won't have any problem seeing the fight, watching the fight, and you'll have yourself a good time. They got some great daiquiris. I came in the other day when Wes was here and talked to Wes and told him about, I think it was Monday I came out and I done a little taste testing. I'm not much of a drinker myself. Really, I'm not. But every now and again I will, have a drink of something. And I tasted their White Russian daiquiri and to me that tastes like, I don't know if anybody's familiar. Well, I'm sure you're all familiar with PJ's Coffee here in the greater New Orleans area. They got them everywhere. But they've got a Mocha Granita that they serve over at PJ's Coffee. And I drank that White Russian, and it tasted just like a Mocha Granita. And it was great. And then Wes made me up a house daiquiri and give me a sample of it. And I'm going to tell you what. When I put the cup to to my nose and I smelled it. I was like, whoa, this is going to kill me. But then I drank it and I tasted it, and it was really a good tasting drink. I did not taste the alcohol at all. So, that's one thing. I really don't like the taste of alcohol. So, that's one of the reasons why I don't drink very much. But if the opportunity comes along and I can, have a drink or something, I do drink in moderation. When I do drink, a lot of times maybe I'll just have one or two, whether it's a beer or I'll have one drink, whatever it may be of a cocktail or whatever, or a daiquiri. But most of the time, I like to bring people with me to places and let them have a good time and drink, and then I like to make sure they get home safely and without problem. So that is that's what's going on, like I said, here this weekend at DBC Bar and Grill, 1001 Veterans Boulevard. Come out, $5 cover charge to watch the fights here at DBC Bar and Grill for the UFC fight. That's Conor McGregor and Diaz in a rematch from earlier this year when Conor McGregor lost his title, one of his titles, to Diaz, knocked out in the first round. If I'm not mistaken, Conor McGregor tapped out in the first round of that fight. So, this is going to be a great match. Look forward to seeing everybody here at DBC Bar and Grill. Come by, tell the ladies that you heard about it from Big Easy Motorsports on the Lanterns Network, the Lanterns Radio Network here live, and let them know that you heard us and that you wanted to come out and enjoy some great fighting. We'll talk to you, ladies and gentlemen, next week. We'll be live on the air starting Tuesday at 7 o'clock from 7 to 8, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. And this Saturday night, you can come out and watch the UFC fights here at DBC Bar and Grill and enjoy those fights. If you're over on the North Shore and you want something to do, Saturday night we will be broadcasting live on the Lanterns Network from LA 36 Speedway over in Lacombe, Louisiana. That's LA 36 Speedway in Lacombe, Louisiana. We'll be broadcasting live over there. Now, for the last 2 weeks, that race has been rained out over there, and for good reason. But this week, they're planning on being open. They're planning on having a full field of races. They race 6 different divisions, and they usually have somewhere between 12 and 14 cars in that little 3/8 mile track that they run on over there. So come over to LA 36 Speedway at LA 36 and in Lacombe, Louisiana, and watch some great dirt track racing over there on that little 3/8 mile track. They do an absolutely wonderful job, and putting on a show over there. Those guys over there, they put on a show, and this will be the 3rd week. It's since anybody's got the race, so they'll be itching to get back over there and get to racing. So come out to, if you're in the greater New Orleans area and you want to see the UFC fight, like I said, DBC Bar and Grill, $5 cover, $10 domestic buckets. You can come over and watch the UFC fight. If you are over on the North Shore and you don't want to travel to the south, come over to LA 36 Speedway and watch some great dirt track racing over there. For little of no money, it's adults, it's $10 at the gate. Children under 12, it's $5. If you want to go into pits, it's $25, but you have to be 14 years of age and older. So no one under 14 in the pits over at LA 36 Speedway. They got great concessions. $3 you can get a hot dog and a drink. You can't do that. You can't buy a drink at the movie theater for $3. So, come on out to LA 36 Speedway and enjoy some great family entertainment. There's a lot of kids that go out there and watch that racing. So don't just think that it's for grown-ups. Take your grandson out there. Take your son out there if you're a single mother and you want something to do with your son or your daughter and that's not going to be overpriced and super expensive. Go over to LA 36 Speedway and let those children watch those races. They will love it. They will love it. And there's other kids over there, while they're doing time trials and things like that, not necessarily racing, But they can go out and play. You see the kids running around and playing tag and throwing footballs and whatever it may be. But so go over there and LA 36 Speedway and enjoy some great dirt track racing. That is it for me this week over at DBC Bar and Grill. I will be back next Tuesday. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week, I'll be back to, broadcast live from here at the DBC Bar and Grill. This is a recorded show that will be put on the podcast of the Lanterns Network, so you'll be able to listen to it anytime you wish. And but next week we will be live from 7 to 8 o'clock. And then we'll probably be talking with Chris and Trey over at Battlefield Live on WGSO 990 AM. I'll be calling in and talking to them a little bit later on this evening. And their show kicks off in here in about 20 minutes, or actually about 18 minutes. Their show kicks off at 9 o'clock, runs till 11 o'clock. That's at WGSO 990 AM. So listen to, I think Chris is doing the show this week pretty much by himself, unless Trey's back tonight. But he'll be talking about, the Cajun Navy and what he's been doing with the Cajun Navy. I don't know if he went out with them today or not. I know I'm working on some stuff back here in New Orleans. I'm trying to get some, efforts together on getting some products together so that we can get the Cajun Navy to get those distributed out for us over here at Big Easy Motorsports. But we'll talk a little bit later about that with Chris and Trey over at WGSO 990 AM, and that is WGSO.com is where you can go listen to that. Or if you've got the TuneIn app, you can listen on the TuneIn app at WGSO. And that's for Android or it's for iPhones. Either one. Just go to your Play Store and download the TuneIn app, and you can listen to WGSO over there and listen to Battlefield Live with Chris and Trey from, like I said, it's from 9 to 11 weekdays. So go ahead and tune in to that. It's going to be in about 16 minutes over on WGSO.com, WGSO 990 AM here in New Orleans, and listen to what those guys have to say. We look forward to hearing from you guys next week. And I will have a little bit more of a grasp on this thing. This is only the second broadcast I've done here on the Lanterns Network. So I'm trying to figure out how I can put my commercials and things in so you don't have to listen to me run my mouth the whole time that I'm on, as well as I'm going to get you a number that you can call and talk to me. And we'll be able to put you live on the air here on the Lanterns Network as well with us here. So enjoy the week, enjoy your weekend, and pray for those folks here that are in Louisiana dealing with all the floodwaters and things that they're dealing with, and keep them in your prayers. And any donations that you might want to send over to the DBC Bar and Grill, you can drop those off if you want to go, like I said, to Walmart or Sam's or Target, anywhere such as that, and purchase online, and then put me, Richard Long, as the pickup for those items. Send me an email over at Big Easy Motorsports, go to my Facebook page at Big Easy Motorsports on Facebook, or you can go to my Facebook page personally, Richard Long. Just send me a quick note, or put up a post, say, hey, I purchased an item. It's over at this store in the greater New Orleans area, whether it's a Walmart or Sam's or whatever it may be. Just go over there and give me a post and let me know, and I'll keep an eye on that, and I'll go over and I'll pick the products up, and we'll make sure that we get them to where they need to be and where they should be as quick as possible. We appreciate everybody who's going to be listening to this podcast and listening live next week as well as this weekend. Remember, from 7 o'clock until 12 o'clock midnight, we will be live from LA 36 Speedway this weekend. So listen live to some great racing action over there at LA 36 Speedway, or come out and join us at the track, LA 36 Speedway. They also have a Facebook page, and you can go to LA36Speedway.com and enjoy those. Everybody have a great weekend, and we'll look forward to talking to you Saturday night. If not, then we look forward to talking to you next Tuesday from 7 to 9. This is Race Talk with Big Easy Motorsports.